The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Mannin Line on Manx Radio. It's an open line today through till 1. Call 66 1368. Text or WhatsApp 166 177. Email studio@manxradio.com. Well, David Quirk was on yesterday, the energy transition advisor. I just wonder, any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on what you heard yesterday? Then by all means do get in touch. But otherwise, it's down to you and me. Treasury Minister says the decision to increase the minimum wage is about supporting the Manx economy, Manx employers and workers. The hourly rate will go from £12.25 per hour to £13.46 from April next year. Any thoughts on that? By all means, do get in touch with that. Interesting question. This is 353 says, why are there no zigzags on the zebra crossings on the Douglas Promenade? We've just been overtaken by a car while we were stopped. Our car was stopped, allowing a pedestrian to cross, and somebody just came straight by. Is there a reason why there are no zigzags? Are there zigzags on any of them? I give up. There are so many of them now. The sort of proper ones with the Belisha beacon, then I can't believe it's not a zebra crossing. And I can't believe it's not a pelican crossing. And then the temporary ones. And then there are. Then the roundels. Any thoughts? By all means, do get in touch. Text, email, call and WhatsApp, and you'll be on. Also, we were talking recently, weren't we, about the price of houses and really what's going to happen now. And obviously with the North and West Area plan getting rent asunder, we don't quite know, do we? By all means. Julian's first with us today. Hi, Julian.
Hi, Andy. Oh, you were quick there, only just you were like a second ring. Fantastic. Yesterday's show, some interesting comments. Did you actually hear it, Andy?
Sadly, no, I didn't. You have to tell me all about it.
Oh, right, okay. Few interesting assertions. David Quirk said that renewables are the cheapest form of energy. This is despite the fact that all jurisdictions that have deployed large-scale wind and solar have the highest electricity prices. This is like the UK, Denmark, Belgium, Germany. And I'd just like to refer, I said this the other day, the recent UK government energy auction priced gas at £73 per megawatt hour. This is after the carbon taxes, by the way. Onshore wind is priced 30% more expensive at £95 a megawatt hour, and offshore 60% more expensive at £117. And those figures don't include all the other hidden costs, like the huge subsidies, the contracts for difference, vastly expensive grid rewiring from 900 miles from Scotland down to where all the majority of the population is, down in London. You've also got inertia equipment. As you remember, Spain fell over when an inverter fell over, went off in southwestern Spain and tripped the entire country and Portugal. And then you've got the curtailment costs as well when you pay wind farms to turn off if the demand's not there. Another thing, Alex Brindley asked a very interesting question about why have wind farms been rolled out so fast and now all of a sudden storage is now suddenly being required? And David Quirk answered with pumped hydro, which of course is where you have water up above and then you let it drop through turbines. So to do that on the Isle of Man, you have to look at something like one that was put in 1963 in Festiniog in Wales. So if you just were to sort of copy what they did and then price it up to the current prices, we'll just take David Quirk at his word, that would require 4 West Baldwin reservoirs. You'd need 2 on top of a 1,000-foot mountain somewhere on the island, feeding down to the other two West Baldwin reservoirs. They would be able to supply the island for about 19 hours, not forgetting that we had a week recently, as you know, because we spoke a few times about how calm and cloudy it was.
Yeah.
So when the top two reservoirs are empty after 19 hours, you'd need Pulrose Power Station going flat out like the clappers to pump the water back up for over 6.5 hours. And the cost to do this in today's money would be £2,000 million, which kind of makes the £80 million Liverpool ferry terminal look a bit cheap, really, doesn't it?
£2 billion would cover what precisely?
That would put in the equivalent of Festiniog pumped hydro facility, which was put in 1963. But of course, these days you have to do all the inflation since 1963, and also there's lots more planning and permitting and all the rest of it.
Yeah, but where would we do that?
Well, that's the question. I mean, where 1,000 foot up is somewhere above the Cregna Bar, isn't it? Is it sort of like Keppel Gate or something, maybe a bit higher than that?
Yeah.
And then you've got two Ingerbrecht reservoirs, West Baldwin reservoirs, size, that have got to go down into a pool that can catch that through a bunch of turbines. And if you wanted to do that for a week, that would be 18 billion, and you'd need to build another 9 of those on the Isle of Man. So I don't know where all the water's going to come from, and I'm not quite sure where all the land's going to be found to run all that water and get it all through there. So when you start looking at what have other people done, and then De Norwich is the one also that's mentioned, that cost $500 million in the early 1980s. So that scales up to nearly $5 billion now if you wanted to do De Norwich here, pumped hydro. And if you wanted to do batteries, I mean, if you wanted to cover the last week when we didn't have any wind or solar, that'd be $5 billion. But then when they're empty, you've got to charge them up again with something. And what if it's 2 weeks of calm weather? Because we've had that in the past, even over here.
Well, the fact is, Julian, nobody quite knows. I mean, it's a leap into the dark, a qualified leap into the dark. But the fact is that the prevailing political ideology is that net zero is the thing to do. I mean, obviously, it's taken a step back with the President of the United States and his assertions. But the fact is that most of the Western world is set on net zero.
Well, yeah. And, you know, if everyone is reversing out of this. I mean, you've only got I mentioned yesterday, Vestas wind turbines, and they were touted to be the manufacturer of choice for the Isle of Man. They've shelved plans for a new mega factory in Szczecin in northwestern Poland, which is on the Baltic, which would have allowed them to float them to Europe. Yeah. They've shelved that because of drooping demand in Europe for wind energy. You know, there's a warning signal right there.
Well, apparently in the UK, I mean, the minister responsible for net zero, Mr. Miliband, is doing anything but reverse out of it. Well,
I don't know. I mean, you've just got to look at, you know, we're supposed to be a forward-looking financial services place. When you've got the largest wind farm operator in the world is 92% down. If that was a retailer in the street, you'd be wondering if it was going to go the way that Woolworths did. You've got Vattenfall, which is one of the largest onshore Swedish operators. Their operating profits have dropped over half in the last 2 quarters. You've got Equinor, which used to be Statoil in Norway. They sort of dipped their fingers into renewables. They've now gone full on with an oil and gas field off Brazil.
Yeah. So what do you think we should do? What do you think we should do, Julian?
Pull the plug. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm just taking exactly what David Quirk said yesterday, pumped hydro. Are we really going to do 4 Ingerbrechts on a 1,000-foot mountain somewhere for 19 hours? I mean, you could buy, you know, even just Pulrose, you could renovate Pulrose, just stick 2 new gas turbines in for another 40 years worth of service, and even he said that we've had perfect service. I mean, you've mentioned in the past that the old diesels used to cut out and you weren't sure if you're going to be able to cook your dinner or not. As far as I can see, Pulrose has never missed a beat since 2003 when it was put in. And, another question that I asked yesterday, he was mentioning before I spoke about, the Isle of Man per capita emissions is the highest in the world. Well, there's a few questions about that. For example, why did the ESA report, the new one, completely reverse what Professor Curran's report was in 2019, which caused the Isle of Man to go into the Net Zero Climate Change Act in the first place? He was 66% increase in emissions, whereas the new ESA report said, no, that's completely wrong. In fact, despite 15,000 extra people on the island, we're 3.6% better than we were in 1990. The actual trajectory has gone from this steep up to a bit of a down. And then, in that time, we've been exporting electricity to the UK using the old diesel generators, which, you think, why are they still using those except for an emergency black start if there was a thing needed to jumpstart the Pulrose power station? And they're increasing the Pulrose up beyond our demands.
It will be really interesting to know, wouldn't it, Julian, how much we're making from selling electricity, how much it costs us to generate it, and how much we're flogging it down the Bispam pipeline, down the interconnector. At the moment, we don't know, do we? But then again, the MUA is, it's publicly owned. Would be nice to know, as it will be nice to know. I mean, you can get all those apps and the websites in Britain and throughout Europe, which tell you how much your local power station is generating. And that's free. That's freely available everywhere. It will be nice to know just some actual numbers regarding Pulrose and exactly how much we're making from selling electricity. Because if we are going for net zero, surely they shouldn't be ramping that up. Surely they should be throttling back.
Well, that's right, because, we're always told the evil oil and gas companies are doing this to make money for the evil shareholders. Well, hang on a minute. If we're exporting electricity to the UK, what else are we doing it for other than making money here? In which case, we're on the same playing field as the oil and gas companies then. Okay. And if the world's going to end in 10 years, why would you keep going?
Oh, it's ending in 10 years.
Well, apparently, according to Greta.
Oh, better hurry up then. All right, thanks for that, Julian. Have a good weekend.
Thanks. You too, Andy. Thanks. Right. Cheers. Big
Mike on 514 said, as somebody who signed up to the new Junara email system, I'm peeved at the fact it hasn't worked for 2 days, says 514. Have you been having troubles with your Manx.net? It has been a little hesitant at times, hasn't it? Wolfie dropped a note in just to say, hearing today of the increase in the minimum wage set by the government, this is meddling on something that should be nothing to do with the government. Our government should stop meddling in what is a private sector issue. Says Wolfie on, the minimum wage is going up April next year, £12.25 to £13.46. Here's Elizabeth was in there. Hello, Elizabeth.
Oh, good morning, Andy. Following up your previous contributor, the thing nothing is being done about whatsoever is solar energy. When you think that our connectors between the UK and us are easily got rid of, it's going to be a long time probably before we have any regular resources from the big turbines, Yeah. So why not, in the meantime, really carry a quick and successful solar policy? Because, for example, government buildings, any tall buildings, or even ordinary buildings, and like, say, the flats in Ramsey, or churches, wherever they can be sited, they should be there, feeding and helping us to reduce the demand on electricity anyway, which is very expensive here, and also giving us another line of defence. But nothing seems to happen at all.
Why is that, Elizabeth?
Well, I don't know. There seems to be no sense of urgency in the government. Given the present state of the world, you can't have all your eggs in one basket. I mean, Craig has gone. It might be a long time before we actually get any wind from the wind farms. And meanwhile, our oil supplies from across could be cut off, and where are we? We're left with nothing.
Interesting. I just wonder.
Yes.
I just wonder that, as you say, the government seems to advocate this for us, but
yes.
I can't think of many government buildings that've got a solar panel on them.
Not one that I know of. And actually, overall, and especially in the north of the island, there are a couple of houses that have had panels put in. But other than that, it's ridiculous. Every source that's available should be taken, because the world is in such a state of chaos at the moment. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Elizabeth, thanks for calling today. Have a good weekend.
And one thing more, can I please say?
Yeah, by God.
We have awful trouble with transportation from the island. My daughter was left half an hour sitting in a plane because there weren't sufficient people in the tower. Now, surely to goodness, someone with anything between their ears would think, go around the sixth form schools, get them interested, and we could then recruit them and train them, and the starting salary is very successful. So pull things out and get doing something.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Not at all. I know.
Good to hear from you. It's 23 minutes past 12. Well, it has to be said that the air traffic control situation is as ever was. I think it was last Sunday night, the last London City plane didn't come in because either it was going to be late or there weren't enough people and air traffic control wouldn't stay open. Obviously, it's not something some people you can train up in 20 minutes. It takes a lot of training to become an air traffic controller, and obviously there are statutory obligations on hours that can be done, and the oft-mentioned fatigue breaks that have to be taken. But you just imagine last Sunday night, and there were business people on that plane coming back from London City, particularly maybe people who are going to set up businesses here. They get the last plane from London City on a Sunday night, sit there, and are told the Isle of Man is closed for whatever reason. And there may be perfectly good reasons, but one of the reasons is there aren't enough air traffic controllers. So we're still in that particular position. It's a very transferable skill, and there are much busier airports than Ronaldsway, where possibly maybe a lot more fun to be an air traffic controller. But what do? You see, in the end, we are the consumers, we're the customers, we're the ones who want to get on the plane. And the last plane back from anywhere to the Isle of Man is always a fingers crossed option. Let's just hope there are air traffic controllers in place nearly every morning. Says 109, an R-plate motorbike overtakes the stream of cars going along the promenade, overtaking on the Pelican crossings. Now, this has happened multiple times. Nobody's ever there to do anything about it. It's only a matter of time before somebody's going to be hit on a crossing. Well, if you've seen this, and if you have any dashcam footage of it, then surely call the police, call the constabulary and tell them if there is an R-plate motorbike overtaking a stream of cars on Douglas Promenade, overtaking on Pelican Crossings, then get in touch with the police. As you say, 109, it's only a matter of time before somebody gets hit. Here we go again. It says D. MHK is not listening to the professionals. The Chamber of Commerce, among others, advised against an increase in the minimum wage. I think this is a vote-catching exercise in time for the general election. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your email. D. Increasing the minimum wage while accepting small businesses are struggling and productivity has been falling for the last 5 years seems irresponsible by the government at this time. It's difficult to see how the Treasury Minister, Dr. Allinson, can say the change will help the economy. Some workers will get more money. Prices will go up to cover business costs, and this will cancel out the wage increase, while inflation will hit pensioners, anybody on a fixed income. But the government will get a bit more money from tax and NI, and many politicians won't be around in a year's time to pick up the pieces. In closing, on a green issue, Mr. Quirk said yesterday at the end of the show that wind turbines would attract and support data centres. Will they really, says Gary. Dr. Allinson says moving to the minimum wage towards meeting the living wage has been something the government's been speaking about since the start of this administration. He also acknowledges the plight of some businesses. Dr. Allinson.
Nobody disputes that there are lots of stresses, particularly for small businesses on the Isle of Man, and particularly in certain sectors such as hospitality, retail, the care sectors, cleaning companies. We know that they've been hit by increased costs, increased energy costs, and obviously those people who employ a lot of staff are going to be hit by this if they're paying the minimum wage. However, we also know that if you can plan ahead, adjust your prices, adjust your business models, and there is help available to do that, we can actually get through this together.
But 5 months will whiz by. That will go by so quickly. Is this really enough time?
It will, but we've been talking about this for 5 years. We set a clear pathway in the Island Plan at the start of this administration to meet the living wage. We've actually backtracked on that. We've delayed that. We've phased that in. We're now going for median earnings. So we've given business an awful lot of chance there to adjust, at the same time as they're having to adjust to lots of other pressures as well. This isn't, as I said, a binary debate. This is trying to support the local economy, support local workers, support local employers, so we can all benefit from increased prosperity on the Isle of Man. And at the same time, obviously, attract more businesses over here, attract more visitors over here, get more footfall in our town centres. It's all part of an overall government policy. But this is a commitment by Tim Walls which has now been delivered this week.
The majority of our comments on Facebook, it's safe to say, were not positive towards yourself or the government's decision. What's the message, though, to small businesses who basically are worried that they're going to have to cut staff to make this work?
Again, thank you for inviting me on. This was very much a Tim Walls decision. This was initially about poverty, but actually it's also about economic growth and prosperity and trying to get that across our island. What I'd say for small businesses is, look, we were increasing the minimum wage. If you are struggling, reach out to the Department for Enterprise, come in, have a chat, see how we can assist you adjusting to that. And there are lots of schemes available in terms of energy costs, in terms of technology costs. We need to make sure that we support everyone going forward.
That was Dr. Allinson this morning. Businesses pay more wages, says H. Those on minimum wage pay it all back in tax. There's no use raising wages without increasing the personal tax allowance. Gary said, I assume the ManxNet server's slowing down because many people are transferring their emails to another free provider. And Alan said the MUA sells electricity to the national grid, UK national grid, via the undersea cable at a very cheap price, then buys it back at 3 times the price the following day. You don't know that, do you, Colin? You're making that up. Please give me some context on that. And that's pure speculation, isn't it? Julian's right, says Alan. The money they're planning to spend on the onshore turbine could easily be used to upgrade both Douglas and Peel power stations. That will be a much better use of the cash. Any thoughts? Text, email, call, WhatsApp. Oh, Peter's with us now. Hello, Peter.
Oh, hello, Andy. It's Peter Melcott here. Now then, if I gave you 1,000 guesses, you wouldn't hit on what I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
So I won't ask you to do that. I'll just comment to say, yeah, I wholeheartedly 100% agree with everything Julian says. But now I want to talk about food and locally produced food. It's something which I don't believe has been pursued as much as it should have been. I remember being very disappointed a year or two ago when the Food and Drink Festival didn't go ahead. I'll tell you where that's extremely valuable. When you walk around there, you find all kinds of stalls and all kinds of producers that one didn't know about. And they're engaging in some very innovative ideas. And I don't think that enough has been made of that over the years. I just hope that the next government does a lot more. But what I'd like to draw people's attention to was there was a program on Radio 4 today, 11 o'clock. I personally didn't hear it, but my wife's told me all about it, and she's very interested in all these issues, having come from a farming background. And it was about a place that in West Suffolk, the Aldborough Festival food producers, and it seems that this has taken off. It certainly came as a result of the efforts of a lady called Caroline Cranbrook, who evidently went round all the farmers in the area, and she got 100% agreement, whereby they would seek to produce things locally that would be sold locally and would be very innovative. And from some of the things that I've been told, it was quite extraordinary. I can't relate chapter and verse of what was said, partly because mine is hearsay evidence. I think it's far better if people, through those means that they have, if they go to a playback and pick up on this food programme today, 11 o'clock on Radio 4, and hear all about it. Now, it isn't just for people to listen to, it's really so that they can bring this up as an election issue next year, to have a concerted effort to improve Manx locally produced food, and to give every encouragement for this to happen, because I don't think this has been happening. If I was standing for the House of Keys, which I'm not because I'm too young now, but if I were, I would be making one of my platforms, and I hope somebody else does as well.
I've never heard. I don't think I've ever heard that as an election issue. I mean, it's been touted around, and DEFA pay kind of lip service to it. But I think the underlying thought is that most people buy food on price, not on where it comes from.
Well, I hesitate to go any further on that one because I think that could lead to a very long discussion about the way in which food is sold and so on. But actually, food, I know I'm stating the obvious here, but it is an extraordinarily basic thing to everybody. And I would have thought that everyone ought to be very interested in possibilities of being innovative, and it doesn't necessarily mean anyway that because it's locally produced it's going to be more expensive. Yeah. I mean, if there was a concerted effort throughout the island, I mean, after all, in the Second World War they had to, needs must, they had to produce everything as much as they could locally, and you never know, we might one day find ourselves in a situation that is not too dissimilar, where needs must again. And I think but you can't do that just at the drop of a hat. You've got to have long-term planning. And so I would just recommend, as a starting point, for people to listen to this programme. Then, if it isn't normally an election issue, make it one, because it's a change from the issues that normally come up. And in any event, where you get people who put up for election, sometimes you look at their manifestos and they say things like, I want to make a difference, but they never spell out to you what the difference is going to be. So it's up to the public to go to election meetings and have an agenda of their own, and put it to the members who are putting up to see what they say, and to be very careful as to who you vote for. And that's the best advice I can give. Okay, all right, we appreciate that. Peter, thanks for calling today. Bye-bye. Good to hear from you. It's 25 to 1. With reference to yesterday's show, the answer to Mr. Quirk saying that we can't drill down our rock because of geothermal, have a look at gadrilling.com. I've had talks with this company for some time. Well, geothermal's been talked about on this show for quite a while. Graham Fox-Hume has been on a couple of times talking about it. As yet, the government doesn't seem to have any appetite for a test drill to see whether geothermal would work. We don't know.
We simply don't know. Thanks to Clark, who just said regarding wind turbines, what happens if wind turbines don't get any better than they are, which is intermittent, and suddenly other technology appears and we're left with out-of-date technology that's costing us an absolute fortune. It's nice to be virtuous, says Clark, as long as it's not ruinous. Here's Mark with us now. Hi, Mark.
Yeah, hi, Andy. I listened to an interesting interview with the former Treasury Minister, Eddie Teare, and he was talking about how they went through a process of reducing the amount of middle management in government due to the pressures they were under with the VAT arrangement. And I know that there's been a recent sort of survey by the government whereby they were sort of demonstrating the increase or the minimal size of increase in government from 2020 to 2025. But off the back of that interview, I thought I'd go back to 2015 just to see the increase in the individual departments. And it's quite interesting. So if you allow me, just read out some of the stats.
Okay.
So this is 2015 to 2025. So the Cabinet Office has increased by 142 people. The Department of Enterprise has increased by 34 people. The Department of Environment has increased by 122 people. The AG's department has increased by 43 people. And the Treasury Department has increased by 44 people. So in total, of the administrative areas, I just focus. It's a 500-person increase. Now, the interesting thing also is the FSA. That wasn't around. They employ 100 people now. The GSA, the Gaming Supervisory Commission, they employ 49. But it's 500 people in these various departments. These aren't frontline workers. And if you look at the total government workers that have increased from 2015 to 2025, the total increase, according to the government reports, is 1,100 people. So just under half of that increase is administrative jobs. Now, there's been, and I know that Alex Allenson was touting as well about the increase in this tax about healthcare, but it's not healthcare. It seems to be most of the non-frontline services that have been are basically accounting for half of the increase in the government. And,
just to get, where did you get the figures from, Mark? Again,
I got them from government reports. Now it's quite difficult to go through because what they've done is they've merged the different departments. So I've stayed away from the Department of Education and Manx Care, because previously in 2015 they split the administration workers to the actual frontline workers. So I haven't focused on there, but the actual stats are from government reports. So, I suppose there's been many various different government reports and the figures, lies, damn lies and statistics, but these are from government reports. And the total population has increased from 2015 to 2025 by just under 1%. I mean, it says the figures I got in 2015, the Isle of Man population was 83,000 plus, and in 2025 the population is 84,000 plus. So the population's increased by just under 1%. The other argument they float is ageing population, more people. So the ageing population over 70 has increased by 1,500 people, right? So it doesn't seem to me that, again, this sort of lumping all the increase in headcount of the health service is basically mirrors and smoke screens. So I just thought I'd give those stats because I was horrified when I was reading that.
And what conclusions do you draw from that, Mark?
Bloated government, not enough drive and efficiency. I mean, it's scary when you think about, the Department of Environment growing by 138%. What have they delivered? So in most private sector's not perfect, but the private sector would say, okay, there's an increase in headcount. What's the productivity? Well, what have they delivered? The Department of Enterprise have increased by their headcount by 22%. What have they delivered? The Cabinet Office has increased their headcount by 150%. What have they delivered? That's the point I'm trying to make. It's just, and the AGE department's increased by 219%. What have they delivered? It just seems to be more and more, bureaucracy and unaccountable. And we need to reduce our costs, right? So this seems to be should be the next administration should look to address this. And it doesn't. And the other thing, another quick comment just on yesterday's speaker, Andy. If that person, David Quirk, is advising the government, it fills me with absolute fear, because some of the assumptions he's making and some of the claims, despite were scary. Like, he was talking about the wind turbine's average life of 35 years. That's not correct. It's 20 years. He was talking about, he was making the assumption by his analysis. I think he analysed 28 different islands and saying the Isle of Man's electricity is more expensive. He alluded to the fact that all those other islands are actually generating renewables, when that's not the case. Of the islands he's analysed, including Hawaiian Islands, most of their energy is from petroleum accounts. If you look at he's got Tasmania. I did some digging because to actually look at the islands he's looking at, and most of the islands are still dependent on carbon-intensive fuels. They're just able to get it cheaper than the Isle of Man. But he was given the impression that all these other islands were investing heavily in renewables, which was not the case. So he was very disingenuous.
Okay. All right. We appreciate that, Mark. Have a good weekend.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. 068 says, as well as government buildings lacking solar panels, have you noticed when going past government offices in the winter that the heating's turned up so high a lot of the windows are open? So the government itself is guilty of wasting energy and not practicing what they preach. Well, in that case, keep them peeled during the winter. If you go past a government office and the window's open, either the air conditioning's not working or the heating's turned up too high. We'll see and we'll watch this winter.
Claus here. As Santa's busy, I'm going to decorate the grotto ready for Christmas. And I hear that Ramsey Garden Centre is full of festive goodies, decorations, lights, gifts, even Christmas trees. Ramsey Garden Centre opens 7 days a week on Albert Road.
At Elaine's Cafe, enjoy delicious homemade meals, all freshly prepared, and support your local hospice at the same time. Overlooking our beautiful hospice gardens, enjoy light bites including sandwiches and soups and daily specials, as well as hot and cold drinks and delicious cakes. Run by volunteers, all profits go directly to provide patient care. Elaine's Cafe, located in the Hospice Building in Strang, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. until 4 p.m.
This old house needed new windows. This old house needed a new door. And with DPM Conservatories, we got all that and more. Now our bills are lower and the house is warmer too. We're cleaner and we're greener since we swapped our old for new. Stunning A+ rated replacement windows and doors, expertly fitted by DPM Conservatories. Phone 612 333 or find them on Facebook and swap your old for new.
On our island, you know the value of the real thing. Fresh air, unspoilt landscapes, a road that truly connects you to the ride. That's why at Manx Petroleum, our premium vehicle fuels are just as pure. No unnecessary metallic additives, no shortcuts, just quality ethanol-free petrol and fame-free diesel. The way it should be. When it comes to what goes in your tank, go premium, go Manx Petroleum. Manx Petroleum, always here for you.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
It's 1:45 now. Text, email, call and WhatsApp. And we have an abundance of excess power already from people who've installed solar panels, but we're restricted by the amount that can go back to the grid. Is that so? Can you only sell so much at 9p? I, for one, am allowed to put 3 kilowatt hours back at the princely sum of 9.5 pence per unit when we pay 30 pence to buy it back. We're told by the MUA that they don't have the infrastructure in place to take any more back from the citizens. Surely the MUA should be looking at the massive amount of self-generated power, and then what more could be done by generating and encouraging people to invest in solar, instead of the government wasting taxpayers' money on ugly, expensive wind farms. I agree with what Peter's saying about local food production. I think it's that Iceland coming to the island is probably the answer to our future food security, especially with the unreliability of the steam packet. Well, it's not that unreliable, is it? I mean, the dear old Benry was absolutely wonderful. This could be an opportunity for local food producers to produce locally grown produce. A lot of food could be made here and frozen from the pie makers, says that. The MUA has confirmed, says Steve, that take-up of renewables continues to grow. Globally, renewables continue to grow rapidly and have overtaken fossil fuel as the primary global energy source for the first time. So the direction of travel is clear. Yet you conveniently ignore this every day. It was refreshing to hear Mr. Quirk yesterday to have some actual expertise in the subject, and refreshing to hear people challenged on their misinformation, says Steve. Thank you, Steve. Let's go to Eddie, who's with us now. I think Eddie's here. Hi, Eddie.
Hi, Andy. All right.
Very good, thanks, yeah.
Yeah, missed you yesterday. They put Alex on specially, I think, just for that guy.
Oh, my word.
It was a farce, to be honest with you, and I think yesterday almost everybody I noticed that either emailed in, phoned in, or whatsoever was disagreeing with him. I pointed out 3 different facts that he could not come back on. Did you say you listened to it or not?
I didn't hear it, no, I was elsewhere.
It was farcical. I totally agree with Julian's comments there, and everybody else's yesterday. The guy is being employed by the MUA, so he's going to give the MUA's points of view. Almost everything I give him, he couldn't give me an answer to. He started his thing off, just a dead quick brief for you. He was saying 80% chance, the Isle of Man, of acquiring net zero. Well, how stupid is it to actually give a percentage of what the chance of the Isle of Man reaching net zero? We don't know what the rest of the world is going to do. This is what I was pointing out to him. You can't give a percentage of the air we breathe and the sea around us, because it moves around. It's what the rest of the world does that will dictate the percentage of what net zero is here.
Okay. Was there any common ground between what he said and what you think, Eddie?
No, none at all. Not a single thing. He just came over to me and everybody else who seemed to comment about, he's a salesman. He was just giving a load of spiel. He could have been a car salesman, anything. It was just a load of jumbled rubbish. But anyway, my point is this. If Manx Radio are going to give time to people like that, who right from the minute go, everybody out here thought this is a sales gimmick for the MUA. So why not? I've pointed out time after time after time. Give the people in Eristane the chance to give their side of this. We've spent over 3 years now. Nearly everybody is concerned about it in the area. So we've found out an awful lot of truths, not untruths. We could say to the MUA, keep that guy yesterday, he said 35-year length. I think somebody else has already pointed that out.
Yeah.
Right, well, we already know that one of the North Sea oil winter farms, after 6 years, he had to renew the blades. So their lifespan is
and whereabouts was
down.
that in the North Sea?
One of the North Sea, I don't know the name of it, but we've got the information down in black and white. Okay. And if we had the programme, we could give you all these facts.
Well, we've got 5 hours of phone in a week, so I mean that's plenty enough. If anybody wants to call any day and just talk about it, then by all means do.
Well, that guy yesterday got a full hour. He could have sent a flyer around it, which he already has done with the MEA. we already know all these things. It's like I've pointed out before. You gave Wardell Armstrong 3.2 million or 3.4 million to do what we already know.
No, the government did that.
The MUA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right,
but
that's taxpayers' money.
This is government policy, Eddie. They're not making it up in the canteen. This is government policy.
Yeah, well, is government policy wrong then? Why spend that amount of money when we already know all these facts? We have the Manx Wildlife Trust. I was at the meeting last night. That guy was very interesting. We've got the bird life. We've got everything already. The VAT people, they already know all the figures that they've just given out. 3.2 million to Wardell Armstrong. Something's going wrong with the money we spend. You look at the amount of money that was spent on the sea terminal. Over 70 million, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're conflating two different things. The government is set on net zero. It's a policy, and this is part of it. And the way to counter that, obviously, there's an election next year. Eddie, you need to stand.
That's dead right. And if I did stand, I would be... For one thing I would do, right, we've wasted all that money on the sea terminal, which we didn't even have to spend in the first place. Let's find out once and for all. Spend up to £10 million to see if geothermal will work, get a company in to drill, and also find out how much gas we've got out there in the offshore.
Okay.
And become independent with gas.
Okay, we got to go. We're nearly out of time, Eddie. Have a good weekend.
Lovely. And you, mate.
Cheers now.
Meet Jane.
When Dad began forgetting the little things, we knew we needed help. Mum Benham walked us through every step.
Real stories, real solutions. Secure tomorrow today with Man Benham.
Construction waste today.
Tells recycle for another day.
A builder skip or two.
Tells skips will bring to you.
Need quality Type 1 stone for your building or contracting job? Then contact Tells with no minimum order for collection or delivery. Call 677 137. Visit Tells Limited in Snugborough or find Tells Limited on Facebook.
Skips are what they do.
We're the guys that hire one to you.
Call Tells Skips today.
677 137.
Dear Santa, this Christmas I would like more customers and more sales, please. I have been very good.
There are more reliable ways to make sure your business gets what it needs this winter. At Manx Radio, we'll create tailor-made advertising solutions to get you the results you want over the festive season and into the new year. Call our friendly sales team now on 682620 and give your business a really happy Christmas and New Year with the nation station Manx Radio.
Can I have a new bike too?
No, buy your own.
Oh.
Housing, benefits or employment issues, faulty goods, bad workmanship, financial problems and relationship breakdowns. We all run into difficulties in life, and it can feel like there's no one who can help you sort them out. But at Manx Citizens Advice Service, we can help. As an independent charity, we offer free, confidential support covering all sorts of areas. You don't need an appointment. Just call in at Promenade Church, Loch Promenade, Douglas, or call 366 338. Open Tuesdays from 12:30 till 3 and Fridays 10 till 12:30. Manx Citizens Advice Service. Your advice service.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Here's Andrew with us now. Hello, Andrew. Have we got Andrew? I'm trying to find Andrew. Oh, no sign of Andrew. Never mind, Andrew. Just a quick word. Some say net zero has turned into an ideology that could cost us dearly. There's an insightful interview on YouTube, oh crikey, YouTube, that you should try and look at. Martin in Ramsey said we should start drilling for oil and gas, following the Norwegian model where the state, in this case the Isle of Man, holds the majority stake. Profits could go into a sovereign wealth fund that can't be squandered by short-sighted politicians. Only the proceeds, not the capital, should be spent, and those proceeds could fund renewables, infrastructure, and for the future generations. I've heard from a Douglas City employee, is this true, Colin, that every corporation building and council house is to get solar panels installed over the next 10 years, along with battery storage. And John said, even if we don't make a huge difference by installing wind farms, it doesn't matter. We should still try. Hopefully we all have a moral compass to do the right thing for our children's future. Thank you, John. Good to hear from you. And regarding zebra crossings, says Texter 068, some people don't even stop. They actually look at you and still refuse to stop. Two crossings that are particularly bad are on the Woodburn Road by the Masonic Hall and the Ramsey Swing Bridge. So there's etiquette to be done with all this, let me tell you. By the way, Dave Quirk, I am told, doesn't work for the MUA. Dave Quirk works for the DTU offshore. It's a Danish offshore technology centre in Copenhagen. But of course, he is Manx. And let me see, it's about poverty. They mean they want more poverty. They must be having the same advisors as the brewery, says Desmond. In what way, Desmond? Tell me more. The real issue and the reason why the government won't drill for geothermal energy is because the MUA will go bust as the cost of power will be too cheap and the MHKs will not receive their money, says Colin. Is that true? Well, I know Mannin Line is an opinion programme, but, you know. Thank you, Si. Eddie should stand for keys. Oh, should he stand for keys? Well, we'll tell him that. Solar panels, I believe, aren't recyclable, says James. Well, we'll find out, and that's it. Have a great weekend. We're back on Monday with another Open Line. Take it easy now.
WIN